Do you want me to get you a toothbrush or toiletries?
I'm going to summer camp, baby. I'm going to jail.
Look, I called my mom. She said you and Sean can move over there with her and Trish.
Hello? Let me remind you, you don't know these people. Stick with me and I'll guide you. I know something I'm not allowed to feel. Welcome to the ordeal.
Before we leave the London West Hollywood, we're remembering actor and father to Blake Lively, Ernie Lively, known for his roles in Dukes of Hazzard and Passenger 57.
Yeah, he passed away last week at the age of 74 from heart complications.
Happening now.
A potential new use for an old building, but not everybody's on board. Take you into the controversy behind what developers hope will become the Friedrich Lofts.
Governor Greg Abbott in Del Rio today to address what he calls an ongoing humanitarian crisis on the border, what he's telling the communities, and the promise he's making to the state.
And soon we'll take a look at the newest drought monitor compared to weeks past and talk lake levels. The News at 5 starts right now.
It is a place where they used to make air conditioners. Now it's generating controversy. First at 5, the future of a Near East Side housing development is very much up in the air.
Questions of affordability contributing to the delay of a vote that would have allowed the Friedrich Lofts to move ahead with redevelopment.
The building is on East Commerce and South Olive Streets. It's huge. Garrett Berger tells us what the issue is.
For nearly 16 years, Mark Outings Restaurant has operated across from the Friedrich complex. The buildings he can see on East Commerce, vacant for most of that time, he says.
For us as a business, it's an eyesore. A lot of people run off by it.
A developer has been working to turn a non-historic portion of the complex into a 358-unit housing development called the Friedrich Lofts. About half of the units would be reserved for people earning 60 or 80% of the area median income, or AMI.
80% of the people who live in the area won't be able to afford to live there.
But on Tuesday, council members on the San Antonio Housing Trust Public Facility Corporation board decided to delay a vote that would have allowed the project to move forward. At least one of them was prepared to vote against it. District 9's John Courage, who felt the 14 units set aside for people earning 60% AMI were not enough.
They're not providing enough housing for the people who may only be able to afford $750 or $800 a month rent, who live around there, who want to continue to live and work in that community.
At least one nearby resident thought even the reduced rate, the cheapest being $767 for a studio apartment, aren't going to be affordable either.
If they do, they're going to come from outside the area and work downtown.
But District 2's outgoing councilwoman, Jada Andrews Sullivan, who was not part of the vote, thinks that with all the development in District 2 already, this project is still affordable.
If you think about Echo East is coming right up the road from that. If you think about the 707 that's coming just a couple of more miles up the road from that. We're speaking about affordability across the board.
No, it could be a while before this issue comes up again. We've got council members leaving that board. The structure of the housing trust boards are being restructured. And of course, we're going into the July city council break. So it's likely going to be at least August before this comes up again. Live on the east side, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. Governor Greg Abbott in Del Rio right now discussing strategies to secure border communities. The governor has been a strong critic of how the situation's been handled, a problem he describes as a humanitarian crisis. Our Jonathan Cotto at the Border Security Summit, that's what they're calling it, that has all the details.
It's a summit to describe what Abbott says is an ongoing crisis in border communities like Del Rio. The expected outcome, a safer border and a safer future for Texas. The summit includes Texas sheriffs, police chiefs, county judges, and mayors. They'll be hearing from state officials on the actions they're taking to address the situation at the border. Some local residents say they hope they take into consideration the contributions migrants have on the local and state economy.
Que piense en esas personas.
She says she hopes the governor takes into account those persons who migrate to the U.S. She adds the U.S. is a great country, and in large part because of everyone who comes here from all over the world and has contributed. The governor is joined by other state officials. Reporting in Del Rio, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
20 residents are figuring out where they're going to stay tonight after their apartment building was burned by flames overnight. That fire sparked around 4 a.m. at the Bricks at Terrell Hills in the 2400 block of Harry Wurzbach. It's not too far from Rittiman and Eisenhower roads. Firefighters arrived to find flames shooting through the roof of the building. It caused part of it to collapse. We spoke to one resident who says a friend woke him up to all the flames. He didn't even have time to grab his medication.
I grabbed my pants and my shirt and put my shoes. I didn't think about my hat because we're getting smoky and stuff. I'm a diabetic and I have asthma. So the best thing to do is get the hell out of there.
Luckily he did. No one was hurt in this fire, but the San Antonio Fire Department is calling the fire suspicious. They say it may have started on the second floor, but they aren't sure how. At last check, one person is being questioned. The Red Cross is stepping in to help find displaced residents someplace to stay.
In the meantime, multiple fire departments called to a house fire in the 7200 block of Glen Cross by a neighbor. That's in a neighborhood near Gibbs Sprawl and Walsham Road on the northeast side. Firefighters say 2 people escaped the fire by the time they arrived. One of them taken to the hospital due to an underlying health condition.
Multiple departments were called because of current heat conditions. Crews heard a pop inside the garage, but at last check, they weren't able to get in and find out exactly what that was. The fire caused more than $100,000 worth of damage. The cause still being determined.
He hit and killed a man on a road in southeast Bexar County and says he took off without helping because he freaked out. Now 59-year-old Victor Wade Mossmeyer facing jail time. The deadly hit and run happened on Sunday night on Priest Road as Mossmeyer was driving home from a birthday party. The Bexar County Sheriff's Office says the victim, 49-year-old Shane Fuel, was walking back to his parked SUV from a gas station when he was hit. Mossmeyer says he saw the SUV, tried to move over, and then saw Fuel jump or fall. He says he got out, saw Fuel unresponsive, and tried calling 911 before he left.
San Antonio police have suspended 3 officers, including 2 supervisors, for their role in the fatal shooting of a man inside an apartment back in September.
A veteran officer, Richard Cuellar, suspended 22 days after an internal investigation determined he tried to negotiate with the suspect despite having no formal training in negotiations. A sergeant and captain at the scene were also suspended a combined 75 days after failing to properly assess the situation. The fatal shooting of Victor Sanchez is still being investigated by the district attorney's office.
Crime Stoppers is looking for a man who robbed a Northside smoke shop last month. Take a look at his picture. It happened on May 12th at the Vitrum Smoke Shop on San Pedro Road. That's near Oblate and McCullough. San Antonio police say the man went into the store, pointed a gun at an employee and demanded cash. The employee complied and the suspect took off on a bike with an unknown amount of cash. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP.
Vaccines for teens and children. It's the basis of an FDA advisory panel meeting today, and it comes as vaccine hesitancy increases across the country. As ABC's Rena Roy explains, officials are hoping more Americans get their shots before COVID-19 variants gain traction in the U.S.
All eyes on the FDA this week as health experts review 2 key issues when it comes to young Americans and vaccines.
We welcome your insights on other aspects of this complex topic.
An advisory panel deciding whether to recommend COVID shots for kids younger than 12. They're also working to determine if mRNA vaccines, Pfizer and Moderna, are linked to a higher than expected number of cases of myocarditis and pericarditis in teens, which can cause heart inflammation. But officials say reports are rare and that most patients responded well to medication and rest and quickly felt better. Meantime, the push to vaccinate picking up with vaccine hesitancy lingering across the country.
Who wouldn't want to take that chance of receiving a shot to prevent this to happen to them? I tell you, it's horrifying.
Mississippi pastor O.D. Akins III nearly died from COVID and is now encouraging others to get their shots just like he did. This Texas teen who got a double lung transplant after coming down with the virus has the same message for those who are hesitant.
I would show them my scar, and then if you don't want to go through this, then get the vaccine.
Meantime, federal health officials have just approved extending Johnson & Johnson's vaccine shelf life. Doses now good for 4.5 months when stored properly, alleviating concern that thousands of J&J doses were set to expire in a few weeks. Over the past week, COVID-related hospitalizations doubled in counties with the lowest vaccination rates compared to counties with higher rates. And with variants continuing to spread nationwide, officials say it's very important to get that shot
in hopes of preventing another surge. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
The U.S. unemployment rate falling for the sixth straight week. Last week, jobless claims fell to 376,000. That is down 10,000 claims from the week before. In January, unemployment claims exceeded 900,000. And despite the big downfall, claims are still high. Prior to the pandemic, weekly applications were below 220,000.
Another afternoon right at 90 degrees. That was our high temperature today, which is 2 degrees below average. And we started off at 75, which is 3 degrees above average. Pretty close to a seasonable day. A lot of sunshine out there right now. And you look at temperatures elsewhere. We've got 90 in Lakey, 86 Leon Springs, 94 Floresville and Santa Maria. For the most part, low to mid 90s when you look at folks' backyards. Even Lavernia about 95 along with Universal City. This evening, just like the past several, we're in that kind of a weather pattern. It's repetitive. Warm, sticky, very humid, low 80s at 10 o'clock, midnight still near 80 degrees. The newest drought monitor is in. We're going to compare that to one from a few weeks ago, talk about lake levels and when rain chances are back in the forecast coming right up.
Thank you, Adam. It has been delayed twice, and now it's been delayed again. We're talking about a planned bridge demolition on I-10 in Boerne.
Our Samuel King joins us now. Samuel, this time it isn't weather, it's feathers that are causing this delay.
That's right, Steve. And Ursula, migratory birds have found that bridge a cozy spot to nest, and who wouldn't get out of the sun? Anyway, crews are working on the I-10 frontage roads in the area, and they need to replace the Main Street or US 87 bridge as part of that work. Rain and severe weather postponed the plan twice. Now birds are keeping the bridge in place for now. Coming up at 6, how one business in the area is responding and what impact this delay could have on the overall project. As for tonight's traffic in that area and across the region, looking fairly okay. Some delays on 87 there in town, but that's fairly common. Now let's take a look at I-10 between Boerne and downtown San Antonio. 25 minutes each direction, but you'll run into some problems inside 1604 and Loop 410. It's going to take you 16 minutes right now between 1604 and downtown. Looking at 1604 here too, some heavy traffic at Kyle Seal. Keep an eye on things throughout the evening.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Right now, San Antonio Pets Alive needs some help. The shelter says it has been inundated with puppies who need a new home. They also have kittens and cats and dogs up for adoption. They're all at risk of being euthanized. Today through Sunday, the shelter is now offering 50% off of adoptions. They say that all locations are completely full. If you're looking for a new pet, adopt, don't shop, they say. You can take a peek at which animals are available at sanantoniopetsalive.org.
School is out, summer's approaching. That means kids are heading to pools and lakes. If your kids missed out on swim lessons last year, they could be lacking life-saving skills. How to keep them safe next. And new at 5, swim safety and your kids. Every year in the United States, nearly 400 children under the age of 15 drown. Now there are concerns those numbers could get even worse because of the pandemic. Kids' swim lessons were shut down last year, and a lot of people put in new pools. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz on how basic skills could just save a life.
For 7-year-old Francine, swimming is just fun. It's also a skill that could save her life.
And stop. I think that it's something that all children should know how to do. Time for the treasure dive.
But last year, swim lessons here at the YMCA and elsewhere were canceled, creating a pandemic gap that consumer advocates say could increase drowning risk this summer. Last year in Texas alone, 80 children drowned. And not even into summer this year, 25 young lives have been lost. Drowning is the leading cause of accidental death for kids under the age of 5. It's important for even small kids to learn basic skills.
Swimming is a survival skill.
YMCA Aquatics Director Crystal Vega says 3 basics can be life-saving for a child who ends up in trouble. First, learning to be comfortable underwater.
Roll over.
Next, learning to roll to a back float and roll again to swim. And third,
Many different drowning and near drownings happen within 5 to 6 feet of assistance or the wall. So that's why we're teaching kids how to jump in and push off the bottom and get back to the side.
Water lessons apply to adults too. Avoid distractions and appoint a water watcher to keep eyes on the kids at all times.
It can take as little as 10 seconds for a child to go from distress to under the water, and 10 seconds can be in a blink of an eye.
Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Taking a look outside with live cam. A pretty day out there. Some people probably want to go for a little swim. It's so hot.
Yeah, look at those splash pods there.
Yeah.
Downtown, I'm guessing maybe that's Hemisphere Park downtown?
I would think Yanaguana area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right? Anyway, it looks tempting. Looks tempting to me.
It does. I was going to say that pool looks really nice. It's about this time of year.
And this is the time of year where the pools are the best because they're not going through the heat of the summer and that high sun angle all June, July, and then into August. Into August, usually the pool water gets so warm that it's not even that refreshing. So this is always my favorite time of year in the pool. Hey, the new drought monitor is in. You know, we've loved looking at these drought monitors. Let's start with 6 weeks ago today. Look at all the red on the map, the extreme and the exceptional drought encompassing a good portion of South and Central Texas. That means the extreme and exceptional drought. Again, this is 6 weeks ago. Now, wait for it, 3, 2, 1. Boom, we just erased all of that drought within about a month and a half's time because of the good rainfall. The skies opened up, and of course, we put a big dent and even wiped away the drought. There is a portion of Texas where we still need the rain, and that's particularly West Texas out here near Alpine, Marfa, Presidio, Fort Davis area. That's where we still need the showers. We could still use more rain out there. As for lake levels, no major changes in that time frame. Medina Lake, for example, 36% full right now. That's actually 3 feet lower than 3 months ago, and it's 37 feet below the conservation pool. Okay, so let's talk rain chances and our overall weather pattern right now. We had the typical low clouds to start the day. Then we broke out into sunshine. A few isolated showers have popped up near Alpine, but not really all that much in West Texas where we really need the rain the most. It's basically about 5 counties in West Texas from Alpine to El Paso where we need the shower activity. Big Blue H, it's back. That's limiting our rainfall potential. That's why it's been dry all week and we haven't had any shower action, contrary to the past basically month and a half to 2 months. Big Blue H, upper level high. We all know that means dry conditions, and it visits us quite often and actually likes to stay longer than we invite it to this time of year and sits around through the summer. It's overhead. It's in control of our weather. The action is all east of the Mississippi. That's where we have that dip in the upper level flow. That was us over the past several weeks. It's not us right now. However, we have some modifications to our weather pattern in the days ahead. A few tweaks here. Let's go through the weekend and then especially into early next week. Notice the Big Blue H. It's not parked overhead. It's displaced off into the Four Corners. So we're talking Colorado, Utah area. That means we're in this northerly flow due to that clockwise wind flow around that upper level high. We've got this northerly flow, and what it does is it just opens the door to potential disturbances. Sometimes you get little ripples in the flow, little swirls and little disturbances. And so we can't rule out some afternoon pop-up showers and storms every afternoon next week, basically, Monday through Friday next week. If anything develops, it would be highly isolated in nature. And I think especially along the coastal plain, closer to the Gulf coastline. So it's been dry. There is a slight chance of rain in the forecast, but nothing widespread. Pretty typical for this time of year. We had our moment and it was good. Cotulla 97 along with Del Rio. These are the actual air temperatures. But remember, it's very sticky outside. We have dew points still well into the 70s. Starting to see a little bit of a break in the afternoon hours, but it still makes it feel like it's a lot hotter than the air temperature by a good 7 to 10 degrees. So Del Rio feels like 108 along with Laredo. Feels like 98 here in town, and New Braunfels feels like 101. This evening, temperatures gradually falling through the 80s. Then tomorrow, we start the day at 75. Of course, very sticky and humid, making it into the lower 90s by the afternoon, feeling like it's closer to 100. A lot of that afternoon sunshine. More specifically, Canyon Lake 93, Hondo 95, Cotulla, Del Rio, and along the Rio Grande about the century mark. You get into Elmendorf 95 and Timberwood Park 92. We do bump up temperatures a little bit into the weekend. By Sunday, we're talking mid-90s and pretty sunny, and then just those slight rain chances next week. But keep in mind, low 90s is average for this time of year.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, he did not have a good 2020. Was it COVID? Was it an injury we didn't know about? Is he past his prime?
And you know what? It's a lot of great questions to be asked, and one of his teammates answers some of those questions for us when we come back. His backup, Tony Pollard. When we come back, we'll hear from him about Zeke, and the Nuggets head coach calls out his own team. Coming up.
Pro football coverage, powered by Davis Law Firm.
Tony Pollard is about to enter his third year in the NFL, coming off his best season so far, participating in all 16 games last year, actually starting two with 4 touchdowns, no fumbles. During this offseason, the Cowboys running back has even worked out with the wide receivers to showcase his versatility, but he's also worked out with Ezekiel Elliott, who's described as locked in and who has his body right. It's after a career low 4 yards per carry, fumbling 5 times. Pollard was asked what is motivating Zeke to be in the best shape of his career, playoffs, rushing title, or what?
Just being hungry. I mean, our whole goal here is to win it all. Like, no matter how far we get, you know, we want to win it all. That's everybody's goal coming into the season. And if you're not doing that, you're falling short. So that means that it's room for improvement all around.
All right, while the Dallas Cowboys are wrapping up their mandatory minicamp today, the Houston Texans have decided to cancel their camp that was set to start this Tuesday. New head coach David Culley claiming that the offseason work that needed to be done with full participation in the organized team activities, albeit without star quarterback Deshaun Watson, will not be fined for missing the mandatory event. So what will the players do with the unexpected time off?
There's no time off. I pretty much, like I said, I relax a little bit, but I'm still going to get my workouts in every day just to make sure I stay ahead of the game because, you know, COVID last year just messed everything up to where I didn't work out until pretty much I got to camp pretty much. So now I have a full season of working out. I feel better. I feel stronger, faster, more smart, more comfortable and everything. So like I said, I think everybody feels that way a little bit, having a whole year under your belt, especially speaking for rookies. And so for us to just have a whole year of working out, now we can be able to go play and show what we really can do.
The Phoenix Suns have taken a 2-0 lead in their best-of-7 Western Conference semifinals series, back-to-back blowouts of the Denver Nuggets. Chris Paul played like a man on a mission, scoring 17 points, dishing out 15 assists, not a single turnover. Devin Booker led the Suns with 18 in the 123-98 rout, leaving the Nuggets head coach Michael Malone calling out his own team.
One team that wanted to be here and play with a purpose and urgency, and one team that did not want to be here and play with no urgency. And that's why we got our ass kicked. This was an embarrassing performance from myself all the way through the last player. You know, we're walking out of here with our heads held down, rightfully so. And there's a reason that their crowd is yelling Suns in 4 and they're calling for a sweep, because if we play like this back in Denver, this is going to be a really quick series.
Who does that sound like?
Greg Popovich.
You got that right.
The only thing he didn't say is give me some nasty.
Or you're soft.
You're soft, yeah.
You got it.
Laid it on the line. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow we'll start the day in the mid-70s, make it up to the low 90s. Some low morning clouds, but we'll have a lot of sunshine by the midday and afternoon again. Then just a little warmer into the upcoming weekend.
Thanks, Adam, and thank you for watching the News at 5 with us.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6.